Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D campaign number 2 of Black Ink and Blue Blood. After taking a break due to illness and holiday cheer, those two things may be related. We are finally back with Black Ink and Blue Blood. When we last left off, the party successfully took the city of Toradana. A massive but shockingly bloodless battle. Most of the conscripted army simply surrendering rather than fight. And Autumn Fall's magical might, Sun Dragon's martial prowess, and the party's skill with infiltration and assassination secured a clean victory for the Western Alliance. Hopefully, the first of many. Barbarous is dead. Another member of the Concord's outer circle has been taken down. With Cabedra gone in the wind in exile, Ergos defeated publicly, even if she's alive, and Barbarous dead, that leaves Father Khan Humor as the last standing member of the outer circle, along with General Gyoger. But the time for celebration is slim. In a little over 2 weeks, you are likely expected to attend the Winter Ball, taking place at the peak of the summer solstice, where the leaders of Yav will be gathering, in theory, to discuss what they intend to do during the next winter, which is sure to be a brutal and unforgiving one. Yavik summers are cold enough. Yavik winters are brutal and menacing. But there is something even more menacing on the horizon. The Concord is still out there, many of the members of their inner circle still about. Caleb has been acknowledged by the Lady in White, who has made clear her intention to make her first public appearance sooner rather than later. And the ball is being hosted in the arms of one of the Concord's inner circle members. Attending or even not attending is sure to send a message. All that you can decide now is what message is sent. As the dust and smoke, quite literally, settles from the Battle of Toradana, you all return to the encampment. The prisoners are all taken to their tent, and as the prisoners are processed and the army recovers, counts their dead, treats their wounded, the queens discuss matters with each other in the camp, and you all are, for now, left to your own devices. It's late afternoon, and spirits are fairly high, all things considered. The Tebadrins got a lot of good loot out of the city. The Sun Dragons got a good fight. The Autumnfall sorcerers proved their prowess, and although they are no longer with us, the repentant knights proved themselves in death. As you all are left in the camp, what do you all wish to do now?
I believe Caleb's orders were that like everything in the city was for the thieves to take, but everything in the castle goes back to Tabadrin's coffers, right?
Yeah, so I sent you between sessions everything that was put into Badra's pockets, but wrote everything down that the thieves took just on my end.
Okay. Do you remember what you typed so I can search it?
It's in our chat history. I'll pin it real quick.
Okay.
In the meantime, what are the rest of you going to be doing while I get that sorted?
Pretty much What's this is just going to keep an eye over his fallen troops.
Okay. Anything from the rest of you?
Yeah, just come back to me when everybody else is done.
All right, Zephyr, anything from you? The wolfhound, he is being processed in the prisoner tent with the others.
Yeah, Caleb was gonna be looking into that.
Oh yeah. I'll do that too.
Yeah, Daddy Dearest.
Maybe. Yeah.
Also, Caleb, for your reference here, I'm pinning it. I know it says as follows, but it's just like I figured it wouldn't really, since it's just going into the treasury, it wouldn't really matter like what it was as long as just the money was counted. So here is the money, and any items that you would now have access to are listed over them in that message.
Gotcha.
What's is, as you survey the fallen and help the troops count their dead and treat their wounded, Lucian reading through one of your books, and Caleb counting the treasure and looking over the items that your thieves retrieved for you from the burning palace. You see Zephyr making his way through the camp towards the prisoner's tent, and one by one, those of you who wish to follow, stand and leave your tasks to join him.
Yeah, Lucian just puts a bookmark in her book, and she's just like, "Yep, present for this one."
As you make your way to the prisoner tent, you can see Agnes is in front of it discussing the situation with Autumnfall. As she sees you approach, she gives you a nod, clearly having expected that you would be here, and looks to you, Caleb, and nods to the tent. He's inside. We kept him away from the others. He's hasn't woken up yet, but he probably will soon.
Caleb, do you want? Let's see if I even have it before I offer this.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Caleb was just going to tell them that when he wakes, I want him brought to my tent.
Gotcha.
Here, 1 second.
I will question him personally.
Shoot, dang it! Hang on 1 second. Sorry. I thought I went to D&D Beyond, but I actually went to my student portal. Give me a second. I'm so
No worries.
sorry.
Do what you gotta do. Zephyr, you are free to enter if you wish. You're by no means
Also,
prevented.
does Zephyr say something?
He said, "Why wait?"
Yeah, no, 1 second. I was gonna see if I had a.
Well, until you find out if you have it.
I guess Caleb will say,
I don't see it. I'm
I
sorry.
guess she's right. Go ahead and just take him there now.
I wish I had prepared the zone of truth spell for you, but you know, we had to do. It doesn't. Well, I mean, it doesn't require from me to hear what his truth is, but you know, I might have. Do I have?
Well,
Do I
while you're
have?
checking, Agnes crosses her arms and gives a nod. All right. We'll have him sent there before he wakes up. If half the stories I've heard about this guy are true, I'd rather the soldiers not have to deal with him when he wakes up.
Yeah, I'll question him myself.
She gives a nod and gives a small bow to Autumnfall. Just a sec, Ray. Be right back. Autumnfall gives a dismissive wave of the hand as Agnes ducks into the prisoner tent. Autumnfall crosses her arms and looks over all of you with a small but respectful nod. I suppose your performance during this battle was adequate. You saved us the trouble of killing him ourselves.
Yeah, just wish I actually got to kill him.
So it's true then. The wolfhound strikes hard, strikes fast, and strikes silently.
Sadly.
She gives you a slight smirk, Zephyr, but Caleb, go ahead.
We should probably keep his involvement as secret as possible.
During this time, I'm going to use 10 minutes
Okay, then.
to. I'm going to use this 10 minutes to ritually cast comprehend languages.
Okay. While you're doing that, Autumnfall gives you a nod, Caleb, and I'm inclined to agree. Until we find out who it is he's even working for, if he's working for anyone at all, it wouldn't do to have some new contender to worry about.
As far as anyone is concerned, his involvement is purely a rumor or a fiction.
I suppose we're lucky he's human then. With his arm gone and no significant items on his person any longer, he blends right in with the other barbarous prisoners. Sure enough, Agnes reemerges with your father, seemingly, slung over her shoulder, and gives you a nod, Caleb. You can see he is bound by his legs, his hands, and they've even gone to the trouble of putting a actual muzzle around his head.
Just to be sure.
She, while being somewhat casual about it, is at least respectful enough and takes him across the camp to your tent, Caleb. Autumnfall watches her go and kind of looks to you out of the corner of her eye, Caleb. Is it true? The wolfhound is your father?
At least this version of him. I suspect some individual like the wolfhound is not individual at all, with how long they've said to exist.
Very astute. It's easy to believe any story you hear when you live in this world, but it's wise to keep a weather eye for any grain of falsehood.
What I find the most interesting is, for some reason, while he was doing what he was doing, he spoke a language I knew he did not know. Was
Were you able
Caleb
to
able to... Yeah, I was gonna... Does Caleb have any idea what the language was?
You don't, but I believe, and Lucian were able to identify it as Dwarvish.
Did they tell him that?
I know I mentioned it out loud that it was more likely than anything dwarvish.
So yeah,
Since
you
they
at
were
least know once it's
experimenting on
next
him.
it's Dwarvish.
It would appear he was speaking Dwarvish. Which is interesting because he was held in... it was Aegis, right?
Yeah, the Aegis Federation.
Which is dwarves, right?
Yes.
Which is interesting considering he was held in Aegis as a prisoner for years.
That is concerning. The Aegis Federation were at once allies of the Eastern Alliance. If they've betrayed us, then that's going to be...
We know they were involved. Even Dr. Knight was working in the same camp.
Then, for now at least, we must assume the dwarves are our enemies. But I suggest not making that open to them just yet. The Aegis Federation are many things, and a good enemy to have is not one of them.
Do you know if the dwarves have any magic that could do something like this?
Certainly not. While dwarvish wizards are not unheard of, they typically avoid using magic directly. They prefer to work it into their crafts rather than make use of it themselves. In fact, they find magic of natural use somewhat repugnant, depending on who you ask. No, more than likely, this is some... Her nose kind of scrunches in distaste. Some science they're making use of.
You see Lucian's head pop up. Science?
Your ritual cast is interrupted.
Oh, damn it. Damn it.
My night is made.
No, she's like, I have to start all over again.
That was gold. That was fucking gold.
No, that was platinum.
Autumnfall smirks a little bit at Lucian's irritation, but gives a nod as she continues.
I'll restart my incantation. Damn it! Where the fuck was I?
Interrupted
More-
again.
More than likely, yes, it was some form of science. But unfortunately, with your scientific contact in the wind, and most of us being either spellcasters or... She looks in the direction Sundragon went, and you get the impression she's trying to find a polite way to say dumb as a bag of rocks.
Lucian, she doesn't say anything, but she gives a little bit of a side eye. Like, girl, I got science in my pants.
Of lesser intellectual persuasion, finding a way to break whatever hold they've gotten on him scientifically is going to be difficult.
Another side eye.
As I find,
But
it seems it is something that is not always the case. Before encountering him here, he acted normally, but then now he acts completely different.
it's possible he was simply lying to you.
Possibly.
But
Well,
at this
there
point,
could be a
I'm not willing to
trigger.
rule anything out. She pauses a little bit at what's his suggestion. and
The
tilts her
longest
head.
Out of
minutes.
curiosity, Matthew, have like in the wide travels of Tabedra, has anything like this been encountered before?
Roll history.
Well, history. History. There it is. And I get
This is the
reliable-
longest 10 minutes of my life.
Yes, yes, it is. So shh. You're
17.
I can
concentrating.
say whatever the fuck I want. It's Lucian that needs to, like, keep her mouth shut.
17 on
Caleb,
history.
yeah. You have not heard of anything exactly like this. However, you aren't unfamiliar with the concept of being charmed and manipulated that way. However, as she mentioned, it's unlikely the dwarves would resort to magic. So, Tabedra has not... Oops, sorry. Tabedra has not encountered something like this that would be similar to this in methodology. Most of Tabedra's encounters with such things were either magically motivated or the much simpler monetarily motivated. It's easy to get someone to fight someone else if you pay them enough, but you've never seen something like this where if he was telling you the truth both encounters, a complete personality and memory flip between seeing the same person twice. But in response to your suggestion, she does pause and give you a considering tilt of the head. Oh?
Like, say for instance, if they trained him, because they had him for many, many years, to switch and revert to what they were wanting for an assassin at a phrase or a smell, sound, like just some sort of trigger point where it's still him, but he is now forced to relive and obey what they're wanting him to do.
Is this something Gyoga would know anything about?
It would be similar to what most people would call brainwashing.
This guy, has that been heard of in the lands of Tabedra?
Again, I'm lumping that's part of your previous check. No, you remember you're Southerners, so you don't travel far enough north for these kind of conflicts to be normal.
I just imagine Caleb just being like, how can you wash your brain?
Well, that does whatever that is. It doesn't sound very pleasant.
Hardly.
It's basically a rebuilding of the mind to make it where, what's the word?
Lucian's
You're
like,
compliant.
Yes, more compliant.
Do you know how to break this brainwashing spell?
Would I know how to do
Hang
something
on.
like that?
This
Or is it permanent?
does not. Okay, so I looked it up. It doesn't include somatic. So I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna raise my hand.
Lucian raises her hand during her spell casting,
I
and
just
what
said
says you may
4 minutes.
roll. I'm actually gonna call this a. You can roll medicine or history. I'll let you pick which.
It'll just affect the flavor of the information.
And perhaps the type of information you're given.
Well, they're both -1.
Oh yeah, it'd be kind of the same either way. So just for flavor, tell me which one you pick and roll.
We'll pick.
You have a -1. You're fucking. You guys are murdering me right now. I hope you know that.
Hey, to
I hate
history.
all of you.
Hey, when it comes to history, Caleb has a +7.
And that's okay.
Sorry, we can't all be clerics.
And
I
plus,
know, right?
and Caleb is proficient, so that means he can't roll less than a 10 on history. So
It's like a 17 minimum. It's pretty good. Yeah, what's this?
I used medicine and I rolled a 17.
While Gyoger does not typically openly resort to this sort of thing, mostly it's just simply not necessary. The elves are literally on instinct loyal to the kingdom. But with that said, there is a understanding of the psychology that goes into it. To give you a sense, being like labeled a deserter in Gyoger is literally considered worse than dying. So you're at least familiar with the psychology of being mentally twisted to those sorts of ends, especially since as an Ichor beast you have the unique luxury of being outside of it. You are probably one of the few people in the world who has something similar to the Wolfhound's experience. While you do not necessarily know of a guaranteed practiced way of undoing it, I will say between what you know of the process and what you know of your own experiences that are, again, semi-similar, there may not necessarily be a way to undo it, at least not in one go, but you could prevent it from happening again by, as you said, minimizing exposure to whatever his trigger is. If you can figure out what it is that summons the Wolfhound and prevent this man from being exposed to it, the Wolfhound would more or less cease to exist, and perhaps, given time to recover, may cease to exist entirely.
I will mention that.
but what if he wakes up still the Wolfhound? How do we get him out of that?
Well, you knock him out, let him wake back up, and try again.
Onifal smirks a little bit at the suggestion, but doesn't verbally oppose it.
Lucian also raises her hand, but just gives that. Just give me a minute.
You really chose a great time to start doing a spell that you can't stop.
I'm gonna flick him off. Doing this for you, bro.
If he wakes up speaking common, this is going to be a great waste of time.
I'm not gonna flick her off, but I'm just gonna narrow at her.
Well, in the meantime, he should be delivered to your tent by now. More than likely, given his injuries. At the latest, he'll probably wake up tomorrow morning, but it's possible he'll wake up sometime tonight. I suggest someone keep an eye on him.
Lucian puts her hand down.
I guess I can keep an eye on him. If you'll make sure that your men don't desecrate the corpses of the paladins.
Are any of the generals around, nearby?
You don't see Volpine anywhere, but you do see Goody is on the other side of the camp.
Alright, I guess Caleb will. I could take care of that. Now go he'll go over to Goody.
All right. So with the group starting to split, Autumnfall will give a nod, and if you have any need of me, I'll be in my tent. I've used up a lot of my energy in that battle. It was very nearly a challenge.
Lucian gives us my roll.
Farewell. She waves a hand over her shoulder dismissively and stalks off to her tent. What do the rest of you want to do in the meanwhile?
I will just go stand near the wolfhound and keep an eye on him.
Okay, Zephyr? You muted if you're talking.
Zephyr's gonna go on like a little search hunt.
Scavenger hunt.
Well, scavenger implies object.
Okay, who are you looking for?
Where's?
Oh, are you looking for that guy that traveled with the wolfhound?
Well, I mean, maybe, but where's the guy I stabbed?
You stabbed a lot of guys, my man. You're gonna have to be more specific.
Where's the guy I stabbed
You
in
have
the hand? Yeah, the Caleb's dad's friend.
Oh, okay, yeah, Kino, yeah, okay. I was even with the hand detail, I was like, I can think of like 3 people you did that to.
It's like that one villain from that Batman show. Do you have any idea how little that narrows it
Give
down?
me an idea, the slightest how little that narrows it down. all right.
Why does it sound like Joker?
I think it was. I don't even remember who it was. Honestly, I haven't seen that. I've never seen that show.
It was I forget what they call him, but he was like the green skeleton-looking dude,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
was
God.
from Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond. All right. So Zephyr looking for Kino. What's is watching over the Wolfhound. Lucian finishing up your cast of comprehend languages. Caleb going to Goody. So we'll just go through each of you one at a time. Caleb, you approach General Proctor. He looks up, polishing his rifle, actually, not metaphorically, and gives a nod as you approach, leaning back and offering you the seat across from him. Howdy, Your Majesty. What can I do you for?
We're dealing with situations, and I was just going to say, make sure that the thieves leave those who may have died on our side alone. Just in case that wasn't already clear to them.
Well, I'll be sure to pass the order along, Your Majesty, but you'll be happy to know they've actually been leaving those well alone.
Good, then they just continue doing that. Seems our barbarian friend was concerned that those paladins would be picked over.
Oh, given the state of their armor and weapons, Your Majesty, I think it's a right to be concerned. Honestly, I was surprised myself when I saw them being left alone. But, they took punishment for us out there. A lot more of our own probably would have died if they hadn't been there, so... We may be thieves to a one, but we understand the concept of gratitude.
Yeah, it was just... Then we could just carry on with that.
He gives you a
How
nod
are
of
you
acknowledgement.
doing?
Well, as I can be expected, Your Majesty. Made it further than I thought I would have, and more than I thought I would have. And everybody's still looking up to good old General Proctor.
I know my faith wasn't misplaced.
I only hope I can continue to meet it, Your Majesty.
I hope you know I want to be able to come to a decision on the who stays in Rosrick situation before I have to leave again. So, who is the other contender, Matthew?
Not counting Volpine, the other contender. I gotta pull my notes up for that real quick. It's been a hot minute.
Volpine's gonna be offensive because he seems more interested in that anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just gotta pull up that real quick. Like I said, it's been a hot minute. While I'm doing that, though, is there anything else you want to go over with him while I'm pulling up the other general?
Well, you just gotta say, like, well, I guess for now, insert other general's name. The two of you may have to continue to split the role until I get back from the ball.
I reckon that'll suit the people of Rosewick just fine. They weren't exactly thrilled about having to pick between us.
I was also going to say that I will be making my way back with the rest of the army. I need to make sure that we uphold our promise to Darkrise, not to raid them. But we will be stopping in Bullhammer. I do still have the promise. I do have some promises to the people who approved this. We want to make sure we add it, and with their king dead, I'm hoping we can work out a deal.
Never thought I'd see the day. King who keeps his promises.
I may be a thief, but that does not mean I cannot be an honest one. Well, what's that old Perusian story? I can't remember. They have that story about the good thief or something like that.
Oh, I'm not surprised at a good thief, Your Majesty. I know a great many good thieves. What I'm surprised about is a good king.
Oh. Hopefully I can keep surprising you.
I reckon you'll do just fine, Your Majesty.
Certainly have a long time to do a lot.
I'll be sure to pass on how well you've been doing to General Finn.
So, I guess just as soon as we are ready to go here, we will start making our way back to Rosewick. We'll stop at Bullhammer to try to work out a deal, and then we'll finish the trek from there.
Understood. I'll make sure the boys keep their loot in their pockets and get ready to go.
I was planning once we got back, most of the army I will go ahead and ensure the pay they were promised for this period and go ahead and send them back on their way. But I'm thinking we'll keep the gunners at the ready. Keep them on the payroll, as it were.
Understood.
A group to be ready for anything.
He gives you a nod.
The rest of them will be free to returning to raids, or I'm sure getting rid of Barbarous will now open up a significant chunk of the continent to our raids now.
I reckon our people will be mighty happy to have access to the valley. Do you have any further business with General Proctor before we shift?
Not at this moment. He'll just head back to his tent to wait.
Okay.
Wait for him to wake up.
Roger, Dodger. Zephyr. Roll investigation. You read it if you're talking, by the way. You may have had to step away. All right. In that case, what's his?
Yes.
As you reach Caleb's tent and peek inside, you can see that Sundragon has left the Wolfhound restrained and basically sort of improvisedly tied to the to where the fire pit would be, and basically has put a sort of like stake in the fire pit itself to act as a place to tie him to. He's restrained standing up, but so that way his legs, arms, and face are completely tied to the pole. At the very least, it seems even Agnes is taking having the Wolfhound prisoner pretty damn seriously. You can still see the mangled stump from where you removed his prosthetic.
Well, could be worse. I will just keep a very close eye on him and make sure he's not just faking being asleep too.
Roll insight.
Also a -1.
You got a lot of negative ones.
Well, if it isn't strength, dexterity, or constitution, it's probably going to be a -1.
And no skill roll uses con, so it kind of narrows it down.
Well, I think only the strength. Yeah.
And that is a 7.
Yeah, you're pretty confident he's asleep. For real.
Yeah.
You keep your eye on him. Zephyr, welcome back. Roll investigation to search the camp for Mr. Kino.
Zephyr has some theories.
Dirty.
All right. Thankfully, Mr. Kino is not a difficult man to find. You can see that he is currently sitting in the galley tent, where everyone just is eating and drinking after the battle, sitting at one of the far tables with a small group of Tebadrin and Sundragon troops, seemingly just doing cheers and drinks in celebration of surviving the battle. And as he sees you enter the tent and approach, he holds up his drink and just, hey, Zeph, always a pint with us.
Stabs him in the hand again.
Yeah, like your hand's obviously doing better. Stab.
Yeah, let's fix that.
I would stab the other. But
Stab the other one.
I guess looking around, I don't see Caleb's father.
Yeah, this is in the tent where everyone is eating. His father's and currently restrained in Caleb's tent.
I'm still under the theory that it could be, not his general.
No, that is. Oh, okay, I see. That is fair. No, you do not see Caleb's father anywhere. He has not been seen since you guys arrived with the rest of the siege group.
I guess I will sit next to Keto.
He gives a smirk as you sit next to him and looks to the rest of the Sundragon and Tebadra troops sitting with him. Hi, mates. Well, Tebadrins, you know him, you love him, but my thickly muscular friends, this is the Prince of Heir Apparent Zephyr. Sneaky little bastard, fast as light. And he slides.
Imagine, because it's probably a table for normal people, that it's like just Zephyr's eyes are like barely over the table.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trial size.
And he slides you a pint of frothing ale.
He pushes it forward. I'm not here to partake in. Well, I just had some questions.
Ask away. Up for a friendly game of darts while we play. The Sundragon and Tebadrins cheer, And Kino puts up his hands, seemingly one of those motions that he probably has been doing this a lot while hanging out with them, and brings you out of the tent, the Sun Dragons and Tebadrons following you, to the shooting area where the Tebadrons had been practicing with their rifles, but obviously currently deserted since everyone's just resting after the battle. And kind of takes a stand across from one of the training dummies at a pretty good distance, and pulls a dart from his belt and kind of sizes up the shot, but as he does so, he kind of looks you at the corner of his eye. So, what's your question then, mate? Ask away. Open book.
Well, I guess let's start off with, I guess, the probably biggest one. Who are you exactly?
He kind of rolls his eyes, seeming to be just assuming that you're just being arrogant about it, and nods his head. Ruth Arkano. Give you a bit of a refresher course? Used to adventure back in the motherland with your friend Kara. I was one of the only survivors of our party. Just me and her left. Now those Concord bastards took the rest of us out with their little experiments. He throws his dart, and it nails a perfect shot between the eyes of the dummy. He steps aside and allows you to take a shot.
I guess I will take a shot.
You want to borrow one of his darts, or just one of your weapons? He doesn't seem particularly picky.
I think if it's whisper, I could. Oh, you said so? Any weapon?
Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's restraining you. He's just using darts, since that's just the more tavern-friendly weapon.
Any weapon you say? Looks at Whisper.
Pulls out like a fucking antimatter rifle or some shit.
Blows up the target.
Automatic win if there's no target.
Yeah, he hit every spot at once.
I don't really carry darts with epic game, but you know.
He shrugs and holds out a dart to you.
Play on even feels, so I'll take the dart. Try to yank that boy.
Is it just
Make an
a
attack
ranged
roll.
attack?
Yeah, dexterity. Darts are simple weapons, I believe, so you're probably proficient. Yeah. So dexterity plus proficiency.
This.
Never taken every opportunity to show off.
We got Zephyr.
13 set proficiency, so 23.
Okay. You sling the dart forward and manage to impact the dummy in the neck, not too far below his shot. The Sun Dragon, Barbarians, and Tebadron Rogues clap their hands and give a few cheers. Kino gives you an approving nod. As he lines up his next shot, he looks to you. So you just come out here because His Majesty forgot who the hell I was? Or there's something else you after, mate?
Oh. I wanted to ask you, do you know where Caleb's dad is?
Benny? Haven't seen him since we got here. I just assumed he was either partying it up or was in the city already. You haven't seen him? He throws his dart again, but it goes a little over the dummy's head and impacts the tree behind it. You can hear a few of the Tebadrons and Sundragon give kind of surprised mumbles. Likely it's one of the first times he's ever missed a shot in front of them.
Oh, that's interesting.
gives a bit of a grimace, seeming unhappy about it, but does bow and allow you to take your next shot, handing you another dart.
Okay. And
Don't
take
eat
the
that.
shot carefully and fling it to the dummy.
You heard me.
Roll to hit.
I rolled exact same thing. 23.
You know what?
You chew it up.
As you throw your next dart, it sticks into the back of your previous dart. You can hear the shocked gasps of the crowd, and Kino actually gives a somewhat almost scared expression at your accuracy. All right. As he starts lining up his next shot, at this point you're just playing while talking, so you can ask him anything else.
Mhm.
But he claims that he hasn't seen Kayla's father.
Yeah. You happen to know Dwarvish?
Sorry, mate. Don't speak nothing much else but common.
Despite being in that prison for so long, you didn't pick up anything?
It's all gobbledygook to me, mate. He takes another shot. This one impacts in the dummy's mouth below his previous shot, sort of bridging the gap between your two shots.
Almost like he's sworn to secrecy.
If it is another idea.
I'm actually going to shoot you a message real quick, Zephyr. Just because I checked your character sheet and something occurred to me.
Ew.
Probably. I got a less clacky keyboard so people would stop giving me shit for it.
The keyboard clacks. Oh, clack is fine.
I just sent you what you know. What's all this about, anyway? Find some dwarvish shit you want me to take a look at? Can't tell you what it says, but I can tell you how much I can sell it for.
I don't necessarily need your help for that kind of stuff.
Suit yourself?
I will take my shot.
Roll to hit.
Let's see if we can get a 3-stacker.
Oh my god, that would be fucking incredible.
It's quickly 16.
You throw this one, not as precise of a shot, but you do still hit, impacting it in the chest, right over where the quote-unquote heart would be. The crowd gives, fairly impressed claps. So far, you've hit every shot, and he's only missed one. Well, if it's not about money, what you need all this for, then?
I was wondering, did they ever say something to you guys?
Said a lot of shit to us, mate. Not any of it friendly. Gonna have to be more specific.
Yes, being nice. But was there something they said repeatedly?
He pauses for a second, kind of looking at you out of the corner of his eye, before he looks back to the dummy and prepares to make his throw. Nah, not that I can remember. Certainly never said anything to me. They did drag us off to have their little experiments once in a while.
experiment?
Mostly mixed our blood with that Ica shit, trying to turn us into stuff. Never took, but he pulls down his sleeve to show pockmarks from repeated injections from Dr. Knight.
Interesting.
Believe me, I'll remember. And he makes his throw, not even looking at the dummy this time. As it does, it bounces off of the dummy, starts circling back, and Zephyr, you manage to just barely step to the side before the dart bounces back and nearly hits you in the eye.
Ooh.
The Sun Dragons and Tebadrons have to, like, jump to the side as it just lands in the dirt behind you.
Oh, shit.
Sorry, mate. Looks like that one took a bad bounce.
You asking too much questions.
He smirks and gestures for you to take yours.
You'll refuse a dart and kind of.
Oh, God.
He'll pull out Whisper and.
Ooh.
I'm not really sure why you wish to, skim off all these details. As far as you said, they did nothing that stuck. It just seems like an awful long time for nothing. I'm gonna shoot Whisper at the target.
Roll to hit.
Go. Okay. 21.
That's a hit. You fire a dagger from Whisper's tip, the blade flying out and piercing through the dummy's mouth, causing the dart that he had hit there to fall loose into the ground. He scowls a bit as the crowd cheers. All right, my turn. And he also does not use a dart this time. He pulls a boomerang from his jacket and starts lining up a shot.
If only it would come back to him.
Oh, it's not a regular boomerang.
Yeah, might come back though.
I'm not sure what is exactly you're after here, mate, but I'm telling you everything I can give you. I was there for years, pulled me out just to inject me with shit and see what happened. Nothing actually stuck or did anything, so they left me alone. Ended up taking after Benny like moths to flame, though. Benny would disappear for hours, sometimes even days. Come back all weird. He throws his boomerang. It whirls through the air and cuts through the dummy's neck, slicing it off. Whirls out to the tree before coming back to him, and he catches it out of the air. Welcome back, love. He twirls it between his fingers.
Saying is that your old buddy didn't. Something could have stuck to your old buddy.
Grime and memories for certain. Had nightmares a lot, he did. Starting to ebb away now that he's got his little boy back, but he gives a shrug. Anything more than that, he's not telling me. Not even sure how much he remembers. Never said much about what they were doing. Not even sure if he remembered half of it.
I think I understand. With all my studying, I think I get it.
Studies.
Study. And this, kids, is why you study.
Zephyr, do you ask him any follow-up questions as you take your next shot? Or are you done here?
Hang on. I don't think I have any more daggers.
You guys just keep trying to one-up each other with weapons?
Yeah.
He just throws the actual umbrella.
I wouldn't want to do that. It sounds. I want to lose that. Bro, that would be catastrophic. Well, I mean, not sure much what we can. Our little target here has been angled enough to where I don't really not sure what we can hit now.
Fair point. Guess it means our game's over. I graciously concede a tie.
Yeah, no, Zephyr totally won that round.
I mean, yeah, Zephyr never missed and managed to hit a dart with another dart. So
Yeah.
that's fair.
And the cool factor, I but so you're saying just I guess double checking that nothing is there was nothing they said many times, something an odd gobbledygook that came up often.
What little we got was mostly just, you there, stand up, come with me, stop or we'll beat you, alright, we're gonna beat you, that sort of thing.
So they spoke
He
common?
does a little, sarcastic cross motion over his heart. Cross me heart, hope to die. They didn't say squat to me, mate. Nothing like what you're prying for, I think.
Spoke common?
He gives a shrug. Only one I can read and write, that's for sure. Don't tell no one, but even that's a little shaky.
You happen to see Caleb's dad that you yes. Oh, I think Caleb was worried about him. Can't see him.
Sure thing, mate.
That's the only one.
That's fair. The crowd begins to disperse, and Kino watches you with somewhat narrowed eyes, crossing his arms before stalking off back to the galley to presumably return to drinking. What do you wish to do now?
Well, now that that's done, I'm gonna go back to the father, or the look like at least.
Yeah, the doppelganger. We'll call him the stepfather for now. All right. And finally,
The acre father.
Lucian, as you conclude your ritual cast of
Oh
comprehend
my god,
languages,
fucking finally!
for the next hour, you can understand any spoken language. and read any written language as long as you're touching the surface. So that'll be going for the next hour. Let me just double check something. Just making sure it's not concentration. I don't think it is, but
No, I don't think it is.
it doesn't look like it. So, is there anything you wish to do after casting that, or are you good to go track down?
We're ready to. I'll let them know that we're ready to rock and roll.
Okay. Just a second. All right.
After she's done, she'll just be like, "That was literally the longest 10 minutes of my life."
One of the Tibadran thieves passing by kind of pipes up. Technically, it was 11 minutes.
Oh,
Okay, question. The one that said that, is it actually a Tibadran, or is it her brother in disguise?
Roll insight.
oh my god.
Oh, it's a
15.
You're not sure. No, I'm fucking with you. It doesn't seem to me.
It would have been funny.
Yeah. After all that, just like fucking here and now of all times.
God.
Lucian, with your spell at the ready, you approach What's-Is. As What's-Is, you watch over the Wolfhound, who does not stir over the minutes you wait. Caleb, you return from giving your orders to the general, and Zephyr, you return from interrogating Kino. And you all, one by one, filter into Caleb's tent, where the Wolfhound lies, completely still.
Nothing to report, I guess.
Nope. He's as still as dead. He's not dead, right?
Is he dead?
Lucian, roll medicine.
Is Lucian there?
Yeah. Can I give him? I would like to give him a full evaluation.
Noted.
All right, medicine 14 plus 14. Woo woo.
So
Looking him over.
14.
No, I got a plus 14. I haven't rolled yet. 1 second. There we go.
Okay.
16 plus 14.
Okay.
So 30.
Looking him over, he seems like he's actually fine, just unconscious. The wound, given the nature of the weapons What's-Is was using, it has largely been cauterized, so he's not bleeding out.
So I actually have a couple questions about what color is his blood?
His blood appears to be normal colored.
Okay, does he seem to have any recent, other than the present fight that we were
Other
in?
than from this battle.
Yeah, other than that, does it seem like he has anything recent wounds or
He does have a bruise on his head from when you encountered him at Tibadra Farms.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for.
Yeah, but other than that, mostly just kind of old bruises and cuts that have since scarred over.
Okay. For the most part, he seems like he is okay. His blood is red, which is a good sign. He's just unconscious. Do you want me to heal him?
Would that make him wake up?
Yeah, probably.
We could see.
All right. I'll just do
Yeah,
a small. I'll just do a level 1 healing word.
I don't know whatever.
Yeah, it's
just,
bad.
Yeah. So Caleb's
Alright.
just kind of laying on his side with his head propped up on his
Noted.
hand. You
All
know
right,
what I
Caleb,
mean?
as you lounge in your royal bed, Lucian, you approach the Wolfhound and try to restore him. How much do you heal him for?
Do a level 1 healing word So I will do. Let's see. It's 1d4, so 5. No, 8. 8.
All right.
Max.
He heals for 8.
And I will have my
8.
axe out just in case.
Fair.
As opposed to 9.
All right. 8. Okay. Lucian, as you cast your spell, you step back as the wolfhound begins to stir. He groans a little bit. He shakes his head and looks around blearily as the situation seems to slowly register bit by bit in his head. He initially struggles harshly against the restraints, but as he recognizes all of you, his breathing slows but doesn't go to a completely normal pace as he looks around at all of you before his gaze settles on Caleb. What's happening? What's going on?
I was hoping you could tell me.
Where have you been in the last 24 hours?
He kind of thinks for a moment, likely just fighting through having literally just like 4 hours ago been knocked unconscious. We came here to camp. We were starting to make preparations to go after the governor, right?
How long ago was that, Matthew?
That was days ago. It's been like nearly a week since then.
It's been almost a week since then. He's already dead. The city's fallen.
What?
The last 24 hours, I mean. Where were you yesterday?
That's what I remember. We were setting up camp. You guys went to go take care of something, do some scouting work. I stayed here to keep an eye on things, and now I'm here. Where's my arm? He wiggles looking at the stump.
I will pull it out of my
On
bag.
that
Oh,
day-
you need this one?
Go ahead, Caleb.
On that day, you disappeared without a trace. The next time we saw you, do we have like the wolfhounds get up here?
What's his has his arm, and the rest of you have his items.
Caleb's just, I guess, from whoever has.
Yeah, Watts has just pulled out his arm, so.
Do you have? Did anyone grab the mask he was wearing?
No, that was lost in the sewers at Tabadra Farms, but Zephyr, I believe you and Lucian fiddled with his gear, so...
Yeah,
I
I could have some of his gear.
Next time
That's
we saw you, you were running around in this and killed the barbers. And the same appearance as the one who had tried to kill the last king. And the one who apparently tried to kill everyone except me here at the farms.
Caleb, can I do something a little crazy? I promise I won't kill him.
What are you going to do?
Just, something a little crazy.
Can you tell me?
I'm gonna pull him aside.
Okay.
I want to test something. You know that he was in the labs with Dr. Knight. What if some of this has to do with the injections that they were getting? I want to test it. I mean, some of the blood is red, but we won't know 100% until one of us cuts him.
I think, didn't Caleb used to have, like, some... Didn't Caleb, like, at the first ball have, like, some... Like, needles?
I literally have, like, a scalpel. I could just give him a little scratch.
Go ahead, Caleb.
Never mind. They could just... Okay, you could just do that a little... Just make a
Like,
small...
it will just
prick.
be, like, a little tiny prick. That's all, I promise. I won't hurt him as little as much as
You
possible.
can do it.
Okay.
We need to do a little test.
Right. See if there's any of that gunk in my blood, right?
From those tests that were done on you.
Right. Go for it.
Can
Come on, big boy.
I'm gonna, like, when he shows his arms, first, before I scratch
arm.
him, I would like to look at his arms and look at, like, can I make any sense of, like, what like how many times he may have been injected, or if I can tell, because, like, at this point I feel like I have a really good understanding about Dr. Knight's process. Could I figure out, like, maybe what she may have been trying to, like, test for, or, like, what exactly they were maybe trying to see?
With your earlier medicine check, since you were checking him pretty thoroughly anyway, I'll just lump this in with that.
Okay.
Because I meant to say it there anyway.
Okay.
You actually don't see any evidence of injections on him. But what you do see is on his wrist and around his wrist, his scalp, and his wrist and his scalp, you see what appear to be burns. And you do notice, since you said thorough medical examination, a few of his teeth around the sides of his jaw are cracked.
Caleb, before I give him a little poke, do you? I will get consent from the patient himself. Do you mind if I take a little better look at you?
Whatever you gotta do.
Okay. First, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check out these. So can I tell? Because I should be able to tell this as, like, a medical, minded person. Can I tell the degree of the burn? Can I tell how old it is?
For that, roll medicine again.
Okay.
Roll it again.
Yeah, now that you're getting specific.
Yeah, like, this is right up her alley. This is what she's made for. So I'm really happy I get to do this. Oh, nice. 17 plus 14.
That would be 31.
The burns appear to be years old, like very old. Like Caleb had gone this time without having noticed them because they're well hidden under his hairline and old enough to have started fading. But while I can't, I just genuinely don't know well enough to give the degree. I can say that with a medicine check like that, you notice the burns are the kind of burns you would get not from fire, but from being electrocuted.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, so they're like mine.
Essentially, yes, actually. Like they are actually pretty close.
Just older.
So they're just on his wrist, or where
They're
else
on
on
his
his
wrists
body?
and lining his scalp.
Lining his
Like
scalp.
forming this like almost halo around his hairline, except at the forehead.
Okay, so, like, it's like all encircling his entire top of his head.
Yeah, just the forehead is the only place left out.
Did they
Again,
ever,
it's hidden by his hair, so nobody noticed.
let me ask you something. Did they ever lock you to a chair with electricity?
Would he even know what that is?
They had this room they would take me to. Strap me to a chair, bind me by my wrist, pump lightning into me, trying to get me to listen to what they were saying. I just told them to fuck off. Never worked, so they stopped eventually.
Do you know how long they did this?
Nearly every day for years. They eventually gave up about maybe 4 years in, I think. Yeah, I lost track of time being down there, but after a while they just stopped, realized they weren't getting anywhere. Left me to rot in my cell, never to see daylight again.
get out my notebook and start taking notes of what he's saying. He is now my patient.
Caleb is like,
No,
are
I
you
have
sure
another.
they?
I
are
have
you
another
sure-
question. Do you
Okay.
know? Do you know what they were saying?
All right, real quick, Caleb, go ahead.
Are you sure they stopped because they didn't succeed?
Yeah, that's what I am wondering. Do you remember what they were saying?
Well, he looks to you, Caleb. There would have to be. I learned enough to figure out what it was they were trying to do. They wanted to make me a soldier. Idea was that they could send me somewhere, have someone say these words, Dwarvish, that would get me to start killing whoever they wanted me to kill.
Like kings?
He gives a bit of a shrug.
This
They
is
never
very
told me.
wonderful. I love it.
Wait, no. Yeah, I remember.
I'm gonna take these notes down.
Sundragon, Autumnfall, Blackthorn, Shadow Lily, Gyoga, Tebedra. He pauses, clearly like genuinely struggling to remember. Egos, Huma, I think. I think that's it. They just kept showing me pictures, names over and over again.
Western Alliance.
Well, something to consider. You've heard of the
Yeah.
stories of the Wolfhound, right?
Right.
Well, the Wolfhound tried to kill King Tebedra. Well, in a indirect kind of sense, they succeeded. We were able to manipulate the situation to technically bring them back, but
Lucian
then,
looks at Caleb like, I really wish you didn't say that.
but and now was Barbarous one of the names?
It was the Western Alliance, Tebedra, Ergos,
Yeah, it was
Humor.
the majority
Humor.
majority of the Western Alliance, I've noticed.
And that is one of the names. Then, come a while later at the Bedra Farms, the others apparently were able to knock the mask off the Wolfhound and found your face up. And
That's what's
then,
me. I'm sorry I punched you.
and then the Wolfhound shows up again, and that is where I saw it.
I don't understand. So you think I'm the Wolfhound?
I know you are the Wolfhound. This is a
It's
very common way to
Modern retelling of it.
This is a very, very, very popular way to get into somebody's mind is through torture. It's super easy to manipulate somebody like that. And I think that you've been manipulated by the dwarves.
What, that can't be right. We haven't talked to any dwarves since you got me out of prison. So
They
how can I
didn't
be
want you in prison.
wolfhounding around if no dwarves have gotten hold of me?
That's the question
They may
we're
have
asking.
someone else who is the trigger.
Who has been with you since the start?
Let's see. He nods to Zephyr. Zephyr, his dad, you, my boy, you elves, and Kino.
Uh-huh. I think it's Kino.
He himself may not even be conscious about it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think too.
Different.
Is there a possibility it could also be Zephyr's
What did
dad?
Zephyr say?
I beg to differ on that.
He might know, yeah. You're right. Why do you say that, Zephyr? Is this just an observation, or do you know something?
It's an observation of. I guess we had a little chat. So, but as far as it being my dad, Possibility.
But he's not been here, has he?
Well, yeah, he stayed back in Rosewood, didn't he?
Where did he stay? I know he's been sort of close to us. He's been with us for the most part.
Yes, yeah, he's in the camp. He just hasn't been like actively, like he's just been doing his own thing, basically.
I mean, I
Since
don't
Zephyr's
know.
been hiding from everyone, he hasn't really been able to hang out with him.
I don't know if it would be your dad. I mean, he doesn't seem particularly malicious or anything.
He may not have been at first.
He might not even know that he's doing it, like we said before. There's too many possibilities. And we don't have enough evidence. You say what?
How would you trigger a trigger?
Well, that's a good question. Sometimes, like Gil said, or Wes's, whatever the fuck your name is, sometimes, like he said, it could be through a sight or a smell or an object or a person.
Either way, I think since they were in the same prison and could have been exposed to the same treatment, they are the most likely suspects. I think the only thing that can be done would be to keep the three of them separated.
I agree.
Till we have time to actually
gather evidence. Well, we don't have enough evidence to know exactly what the situation is my problem. Like we know that's for sure he is the Wolfhound, but we don't know how it's happening.
We know it is brainwashing. It was obvious at this point.
Yeah.
Well, there's not much we can do right now. We'll just keep them separated.
To the best of our abilities, right? I mean,
at the very least, keep those two away from.
I think that we should keep your dad, Caleb, away from Kino, and maybe Zephyr's dad just away from everyone. Just keep everybody in separate corners, basically.
Hey, I'm not just going to take a back seat because you think that the dwarves got in my head. I resisted them for half a decade, having them put lightning through my head every day.
You
did a good job.
You'll be involved, but you'll just stay here with me. You'll stay
Think of
with
yourself
me
as his personal bodyguard.
Caleb, roll persuasion. I'll give you advantage since what's has helped.
Persuasion. Caleb is also perfect, so that is going to be a 29.
He might be young, but the boy is persuasive.
That's because he's cute.
Oh yeah, I also had advantage, right?
Yeah, because what's has helped you.
All he has to do is give those big blue puppy dog eyes.
Okay, the first roll was better. The first roll was a 29. The second roll was minimum, which is 22.
Okay. He considers before sighing and kind of looking to the side, seeming unhappy, but ruefully accepting. Fine, but I'm not being kept on the sidelines.
We're not benching you, we're just trying to keep you safe.
And I would give you your arm back, but I don't know how to reattach it.
It's fine, just give it here.
I will give the man back his prosthetic.
Caleb will... Well, I guess since we sorted it, just stay with me, and we'll figure this out. Caleb will take out a dagger and start cutting some of the restraints so he can, at least move.
I'm still keeping an eye on him. Just in
Yeah.
case it's all been one big ploy.
That's fair. You watch carefully as Caleb cuts him free, and the moment he kind of rubs at his side and flexes his fingers. He looks at his prosthetic and frowns, seeming unhappy. Well, normally Ray would.
Before you put that on, can I look at it?
I mean, yeah, it's no use to me now if I can't see if I can't see him. Ray was always the one who reattached it after it fell off.
Well, I can go with you to Ray. That's not a problem. But I just want to take a look at this real quick. Well, actually, you know what? She might know more about it than I would, so I will gladly escort you over to Ray.
You're so kind. He still does not seem thrilled about being a suspect.
If it makes you feel any better, you put up quite a bit of a fight as Wolfhound.
He just kind of grunts indifferently.
Caleb will follow him.
I forget, who's Ray?
Ray Hutai Kino. He just calls him Ray as a nickname. In the meantime, Zephyr, Caleb, what will the two of you be doing then?
I said
For now,
Caleb's going to follow him.
Okay.
Well, I
Zephyr?
thought you meant I thought, never mind. Anyway, it's fine. I could still do it.
Alright, Zephyr, what are you doing?
I'm just gonna probably just go off on my own, but maybe just perhaps see my father or something.
Okay. Alright, gonna go find Pokey.
Hey Zeph, do you know exactly where your dad is? I have some questions for him too.
Do I know where he is?
You know he's with you. He made it clear, even if you told him to stay behind, he'd follow you. So you haven't seen him in the camp since Tabadra Farms, but you do know he's either in the area or in the camp somewhere. Given that he's about your size, it's understandable that you easily could have missed him. But yeah, you can go search for him.
Exact location? Don't know.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just I'll message you when I'm ready to come and speak with you and see if you have found him at that point.
All right.
And at
In that
this
case-
point, I'm gonna just go hang out and hold sigil next to Paladins.
So you return to the site where the dead are being preserved. Lucian, you and Caleb head out to find Ruhutai, and Zephyr, you head out to find Pokey. As usual, we'll circle around.
Has Westus noticed that the thieves have not even tried?
Well, I'll mention whenever we get to him. Caleb and Lucian, as you escort the quote-unquote wolfhound / Caleb's quote-unquote dad. At this point, who knows anything? You make your way around the camp searching, and it doesn't take too long to find Mr. Kino. You can see that he's now sat outside the eatery tent and is picking his teeth with the blade of one of his boomerangs. But as he sees you approach, wide smile at seeing Bernard and stands up and approaches. There you are, you old bastard. He brings him into a hug, which Bernard returns enthusiastically. Was wondering which bar you slunk off to.
Does this exchange
He's got
seem
a-
genuine?
Roll insight, Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb was just like, yeah, he had a bit of an accident with his arm.
Yeah, it looks like it. Need me to get that back on for you, mate? If you don't mind. He nods and brings him over to sit next to him.
Caleb will sit on the other side of his father.
Okay. And Lucian, insight?
Hang on. 11 plus 9.
It's a dirty 20.
The interaction itself does seem genuine, but you do notice that Kino doesn't look particularly happy to see you and Caleb there.
I don't give a fuck. Quite frankly, I don't give a fuck.
Basically, he does seem genuinely happy to see him, but doesn't seem happy that he has company.
Yeah, see, I don't care what he wants.
That's fair. You asked for insight, I gave you insight.
Yeah. I got you. All right.
It's a shame he can't program his secret assassin.
I bet I could. Anyway, that's for another day.
Is it?
Maybe. So, is he getting the arm on?
Yes.
Okay.
Once everyone sat down.
Before you get that arm on, how exactly does this thing work? Is it like what's his?
Well, I'm not exactly a dog. We learned how to tinker with it after it kept falling off. He presses the metal to his stump and starts to push on a series of like buttons and I don't know what the word would be, but you know how like whenever something metal attaches, it'll sometimes have those rods that stick out and you push them back in to like hook it back into place.
Yeah, like I had to do with that truck.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's basically a mechanism like that. It's super primitive compared to what's his is.
Okay,
but...
so could I I don't know. Is this I guess I'll ask. Is this dwarvish maybe?
He nods to Bernard, seeming to realize that he's talking over him, and Bernard just kind of waves him off with his free hand. After the dwarves came and got me after the battle, my arm was beyond saving, so they took it off. But after they started doing their experiments, they gave me this one. Said that if the programming worked, they wanted their soldier to have two hands. Obviously it didn't take, but I got to keep it. They stopped maintaining it, though, after they realized I wasn't going to do them any good. So, Ray here kept me from being a righty for life.
Can I inspect it? Does it look like maybe there's like a tracking device on this thing?
Roll investigation, Caleb.
I was gonna say, while he begins working on the arm, Caleb was like sitting next to his dad and just like starts. You know the thing where like, someone like hugs someone's arm, basically.
Yeah, the little child clutch.
Yeah, Caleb's basically doing that.
All right, Caleb, you hug.
While he's watching, he's glad he's back.
Bernard gives you a small nod, still not seeming thrilled at your decision of what to do with him, but does at least accept the affection, even if he doesn't reciprocate it. And Lucian, natural 20, I assume?
Natural 20!
You do not find anything that appears to be some kind of tracking device. Honestly, the arm itself appears fairly mundane. It's primitive, ancient dwarf tech. That's just a functional prosthetic and nothing more.
You can lump this in if you want. Are there any markings? Is there any runes? Is there
like I said, you are confident this is a completely mundane prosthetic. Just basically, again, what's this is are an anomaly. These are just purely functional, like give this person a limb back. It does have some basic magic in it, but purely to make it functional as a prosthetic, nothing more.
All right.
The process itself is pretty fast. It literally takes less than a minute before he puts the last of the rods back in, and the arm flexes, twitches up into a elbow, and cracks back into place. Bernard shakes his mechanical wrist and gives Mr. Kino a grateful smile. Thanks again, mate. Need to have you good on for something.
Well, make sure you say you try. We're gonna keep each other, separated for now. No offense. I just don't trust you.
Yeah, it's... They've got it in their heads that I'm the Wolfhound. You? I mean, yeah, sure, you're sneaky, but you're not exactly a killer, mate.
Can I insight him?
Version of it.
Roll insight, Lucian.
All we know is he was in the
He
outfit.
sounds just
has been
really
trying
a
to
little
kill
too
people,
dismissive.
while speaking Dwarvish of all things.
Ooh,
He kind of
sounds
gives
a
a...
little dismissive to me.
Lucian?
17 plus 9.
You can see that Mr. Kino definitely does not believe that he doesn't have it in him to be a killer, and you notice his brow furrows unhappily at the accusation being laid bare. So this must have been what the little gecko was getting on me about earlier.
It's a temporary solution until we figure out exactly what happened.
Yeah, we don't have all the facts, but we do know a few things.
Aye, aye. He raises his hands in surrender. Bernard gives him an apologetic look. I'm sorry, I tried to argue about it, but you know how Caleb gets. I know, mate, I know, it's fine. We need to make sure your brain stays nice and dirty like at every Tabadron, eh? I'm glad you understand. I promise, once we find the real Wolfhound, we can go right back to our drinking nights. Looking forward to it, mate. Hope you don't expect me to stay sober waiting for you, though. Wouldn't dream of it. That implies you're thinking of someone that isn't you. Kino kind of rolls his eyes, but gives an affectionate smile. Well, I guess that's it then. He stands up and holds out his organic hand to Ryutai. I'll see you once this blows over, old friend. You too, mate. Take care of yourself. Don't let the boy run you over completely. Try not to. Try not to. Ryutai stands up, puts his hands in his pockets, and shrugs before giving you both a nod. See you around, mates.
Caleb will return the gesture. We'll get this sorted as soon as...
He gives a nod of acknowledgement and heads off into camp. Bernard watches him go with a sad expression that quickly turns more sour once he's completely out of sight.
Caleb will...
Yeah, Lucian has not changed expression. She is keeping her eyeballs on this man.
Caleb?
You see that as seeing his father being kind of upset, Caleb tries to give him a hug.
He allows you to do it and just places his mechanical hand over your head. Kind of vaguely affectionate, but clearly distracted.
It's okay, it won't be too long.
He doesn't respond, just kind of staring in the direction that Kino went.
Besides, I feel like we haven't had much time. We haven't been able to spend much time together lately. With all the busyness and all that.
Boy. You don't have to accuse me of being an assassin to spend time with your old man.
I certainly wish I didn't have to do that. I would love nothing more for it to not be true. But
Well,
can't
you got...
I can't just ignore what I saw with my own eyes.
He still doesn't look happy, but gives a shrug. Well, you got me by the nuts, your majesty.
Oh,
It was just
can that was a little bit too bitter there.
Caleb was just like, well, Caleb was like, ew, gross.
He rolls his eyes, although you do see a very slight smirk. You had to get your sense of humor from somewhere. Zephyr.
Oh, he took the dog out.
Okay. What's his?
He took the doge out.
Yes.
The Doge.
Who let the dogs out?
Austin,
It was
apparently.
Austin.
What's his? You make your way over to where the dead of the battle are being buried. While your casualties were few, given how outnumbered you were, many Tebadrins did lose their lives, especially those on the rifle line, using weapons they were inexperienced with and few in number. But none took more casualties than the errant Oathbreakers, who lay in a row, their swords in their hands over their chests, laying respectfully. You notice that Tebadrins and Oathbreakers alike have not been touched. Their possessions are still on their person, as if even the Tebadrins did not dare desecrate the dead, whether that's out of respect or out of practicality of not wanting to deal with them being angry when the necromancer that constantly travels with them brings them back to life is anyone's guess.
That is fair. How many dead was it again?
Let me pull the battle sheet back up. Luckily I kept that.
I think it was all the Oathbreakers and some Tebadrins.
Yeah, 35 Tebadrins and 13 Oathbreakers.
I only got 13 of them?
Yeah, I mean, they were expensive.
Oh yeah.
I thought
So
he had
I
more
will-
of them.
I will put 2 platinum per Tebadrin and 2 platinum on with Oathbreakers, 1 on each eye.
Is that a tradition in Yav?
Yes.
Not for Yob, but remember, because of the Icker thing, is technically half Perusian now, so.
Oh, interesting.
Is tuning into a burial instinct that is not natural for your colonel, but is natural for the other side of you. You lay a platinum coin on each of their eyes. More than enough to pay the fee of the ferryman and ferry them to the other side. You see a few of the Tebadrins watching you. A few of the Tebadrins actually look shockingly put out. They're bedecked in jewels and stolen goods, but it appears the casualties they took, at least for those who had friends, clearly wasn't worth it. You even see one Tebadrin actively sobbing over one of the riflemen.
Aww.
Yeah, probably either friend or family.
I'll say from what you can make out of his sobbing language, yeah, it sounds like it was his brother.
I will spend time in the area comforting those who have lost and just doing the best you can.
Point of inspiration. And I will give them a morale check with advantage. You lift their spirits greatly. Having somebody who's experienced in matters of military and has lost family to military conflict, you're able to give them some very sound advice from experience, and they seem grateful for the input. The man who lost his brother does lay him to rest respectfully. And indeed, you can definitely see now, seemingly out of respect, the Tebadrians are refusing to loot the dead on their own side. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
No, he's just using the rest of his time just to boost spirits and help those who have lost mourn and I wouldn't say move on, but to be able to deal with it.
Okay. Austin, have you returned?
No, sorry, I had him.
No,
trapped in
I
a
was
hug.
finishing my
I
countdown.
had him trapped in a hug. I'm so sorry. He's coming now.
Okay. What's is, as you comfort the friends and family of the fallen and lay everyone respectfully to rest, obviously dock the platinum pieces accordingly.
Yes. You said it was a total of 35 people that's counting?
35
paladins?
Tebadrians, 13 Oathbreakers, so you took 48 casualties in total.
Okay, so that would be 96. It's a good thing money's not an issue for me anymore. At least for
Give
now.
it time.
Until I try to hire more Oathbreakers.
Yeah, I was going to say, until your next big, ambitious project, and at which point money is now very much a problem, and you have to find someone to steal from.
Or it's just the next town.
I'll just take over Gyogre and then raid the treasury.
Fair.
That will be gone in like
All right.
2 weeks.
While we wait for Austin, Caleb, Lucian, anything? Oh,
I was just saying and that money will be gone about like 2 weeks.
yeah. It's a cycle. All right, welcome back, Zephyr. You make your way out to find Pokey. Roll investigation.
Yeah, you find a Pokey doing the hokey pokey.
But then when you find him, he turns himself about. Luckily, Zephyr, now that you're looking for him openly with your keen eyes, he is not a difficult man to find. You find that he's actually not in the camp itself, but he is instead on the outskirts. You can see that he's in the tree line overlooking the city of Toradana. As you can see, smoke still rising from it in the distance from the insane amount of destruction and raiding that happened. As you approach, he obviously doesn't hear you, but you do see his ears flick lightly. You can see he's changed his outfit since you last saw him, seemingly having finally gotten the chance to get some new clothes. You can see that he's changed into a kind of maroon jacket that actually like semi-matches his scales, as well as a matching, if tattered, top hat. You actually recognize these clothes from one of the Tebadrians, possibly one of the Fallen that obviously no longer has a need of it.
Enjoying the view.
He looks up in surprise, looks back to you, and gives a nod. Yeah, I guess I am. He pats a spot of grass next to him and sits down. Judging from the little sling he's carrying, it's likely he's attempting to keep watch. But you don't see any soldiers nearby. Either he did this himself or they told him to do it alone. I heard you did it. The governor, right? He's dead?
But
I'm glad for it. I know it's not nice to say, but I suppose it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Why are you here? I thought you'd be celebrating. I know you're not exactly a party animal, but figured you'd at least want to get in on all the looting.
I got what I. Why is it that you're much?
Oh, I just thought somebody should. Everybody's celebrating, resting, licking our wounds, counting our dead. I just thought somebody should keep an eye on things. Didn't feel right to not have somebody doing it, you know?
Yes, that's fair.
Oh, but I'm glad you made it out okay, son. He puts a hand on your shoulder, not forcing you into contact, but at least making his affection clear. You're making me proud out there. I know these people we're up against don't stand a chance. But if I may say, it's been a while since you came to speak with me. Is something on your mind?
Particularly, figured why not. Seems like we probably should have more time together.
I'd like that. He turns to look back at the view. You can sit next to him if you wish, but he's not forcing you.
Sure.
What do you plan to do now? What's next for you? I don't know a whole lot about what you're doing, what your plans are. I've only heard you have a lot of them. It's what everyone in our little army has started to say now. That out of anyone here, you're always the one who has a plan.
Yeah. Either have a plan or something, a plan for what could happen. Smallest and very. I take every advantage you can.
That's smart. He gives a nod. I never really thought about it that way until after, you know. I just assumed this place would be like where we came from. You know, some people have advantages, some people don't, but out there where we come from, he looks up at the darkening sky where you can see the first glimmer of starlight beginning to appear with the setting sun. It's so different here. Everyone here fights over everything. Where we come from, it didn't matter how small you were, how big you were, how much you had. I don't know. It's so strange now, watching one of my own, my son, my own flesh and blood, having to fight for survival. I guess we got so used to having everything we needed whenever we wanted. If there was anything we needed, we could ask for it and we would get it. I'm sorry that you never got to see that. Maybe you never will. And that's my fault. I wasn't careful. We wandered too far, didn't make it back in time. You shouldn't have had to grow up in a place like this.
Either if it's your fault or not, it doesn't change the fact. Ours we have adapted.
Suppose we have. I've been learning how to fight, like you. The Debadrians, they've been teaching me how to use a sling. I'm too small to be using a crossbow, so they've been teaching me how to throw rocks.
Well, have to start somewhere. Hopefully, get a proper understanding.
I'm glad you let me come with you. I wouldn't be able to stand it waiting for you back in Rosewick, not knowing if you were okay. I know it doesn't do to dwell on the past, but I just can't stop thinking about how you deserve better. How I should be doing everything I can to make it better. Maybe this world will never be peaceful like ours, but I want to at least help you make it safe.
I don't necessarily think that.
Maybe not. All these creatures, humans, elves, dwarves, they find every reason to tear at each other. It's so different, but are you happy with the life you've built?
Happy.
I suppose my definition of happy would be something like home. Do you feel like you'll be safe? Like if there's things you want, you can get them?
It doesn't sound like it'd be as easy as from, but I think if I absolutely needed to.
That's good. Having to work as hard as we do for it is different, but something tells me that you'd be rather bored if we were to go home now.
But could be a nice change of pace, peacefulness.
Well, I promise you, if the great dragon ever returns to this world, I'll make sure that we're there to meet it.
You happen to know where they are coming to next, or is there somewhere they just frequently, come close to?
Oh, I wouldn't know anything about that. Your mother was the only one trusted to actually guide it. It's more we just follow in its whims. We were like little fleas to it. It wasn't bothered by our presence, and we were rewarded greatly by its. But maybe when this is all over, I hear there are people in this world that study the stars. Maybe we could find one of them. Or maybe one of your spellcasting friends can find a way. I don't know. It's just a nice thought. But I have little to return to other than peace. But I think peace would not be worth being apart from you. So, as long as you are here, this is home.
Well, you ever happen to know if you ever do find him, seeing where it would lead?
I hope I get to show you someday. It's beautiful. Great fields of scales, fountains of blood, wings that blot out the sky and darken our nights, the stars of the universe lighting our homes, guiding our way. He kind of pulls at some of the grass and dirt that he's sitting on. All of this, these plants, these creatures, it's all so new. Oh, but as you say, thinking of home is of no use to us now. But what about you, Zephyr? How are you? I'm sure it wasn't easy winning today.
Honestly, it was barely. I mean, yes, it was brief. That didn't was done for us.
Well, I suppose that's a little to complain about then. I'm just glad you're safe. So, what happens next? Where do we go from here? That wasn't the last of our enemies, was it?
And I have a couple more, but as far as I'm aware, there's an event going on soon to that.
No. Are you looking forward to it? uh, well, maybe give it a chance. This world's already surprised me. Maybe it can surprise you. I'm just glad that we're here together. I know your mother would be proud of the man you've become. You watch as the sun sets and day turns to night. He looks up at the stars, eyes glittering and wet, as if remembering seeing it all from up there rather than down here. I may not be as close as I once was, but thank you for letting me see the stars again. Zephyr, do you have any final words to exchange with your father? Okay. Do the rest of you have any final business before tucking in for the night?
Not personally, no.
Caleb would mostly just be trying to keep his father company.
Okay.
I was going to, I guess, first thing I would like to do is, talk to Pokey.
Alright. As day turns to night, Lucian, you search around the camp, and
If I can't find them, I'll just message Zephyr.
yeah, with Zephyr already there and him already being located, it's not particularly difficult. As before, you simply find him and Zephyr sitting together, or rather, Zephyr standing. Uh, Zephyr next to him as they both look out over the desert stretching before them. You can see Pokey's ears flick, and he looks over his shoulder as you approach and gives a gentle smile.
I'll give an enthusiastic wave.
Hello, miss. It appears everyone's out to join me on guard duty today.
Well, not exactly, but I'll take a seat next to him. You told me that you would be 100% okay with me, like, and your health and all of your blood, and right?
Did I? Well.
I think that's what you said, but like, if you're not, I'm not gonna make you do anything you're not comfortable with.
I have no problem with it. I just, what do you need?
Well, I'm actually, I'm going to look, around his scalp area, around his head and his wrists, to see if maybe does he have any similar markings.
Roll medicine.
Okay. I just want to rule him out if I possibly can. Hang on. D&D Beyond is being slow. Come on, D&D Beyond. Okay, there we go. You said medicine, which I have a plus 14 to. Okay, 13 plus 14.
Looking him over, you find that his wrists do bear the signs of some form of injection. However, you can't tell if that would be from something being put into him or something being taken out.
But do I see any burn marks from
No.
maybe electric? Okay. Okay.
You do, however, notice on his chest is a patchwork of scars, as if at some point he was cut completely open and then stitched back together.
Oh, I don't like that. How well is the stitch work?
Really good, actually.
Really? Okay. Okay. I bet Dr. Knight... Did Dr. Knight do this?
The lady in the mask?
Yes.
Yes. She said she was contemplating if my heart could be isolated, kept preserved, and this thing they were creating could be drawn out of it infinitely. But I suppose she must have concluded otherwise, as I woke up back in my cell with these scars.
So can you repeat that just for my notes?
He's basically saying that Dr. Knight was considering, since the disease for the Ichor comes from kobolds, could she take his heart out, preserve it, and just drain Ichor from it forever without needing to keep him alive? But clearly she decided otherwise, as he just woke up in his cell and these scars were present.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't think that that would be plausible. I don't know why that would be a part of her study. That makes no sense. Unless she is seeing something that I am not. I don't think it would be any different, no offense to your kind.
None taken.
I don't see why like there would be an exception. I mean, because like you're just a creature. I mean, I just don't understand what she would do that for. She kind of like looks at the stitching like a little worriedly. Does he have any like stitching like around his around his like scalp or
His head is
anywhere
completely
else?
fine. Just his wrists have injections, and his chest to his stomach are stitched.
Did you mostly have interactions with the lady in the mask?
Yes, her and her compatriots who wore similar clothes. The dwarves only escorted me to and from her lab. And, of course, threw things at me through the bars.
Did they ever say anything to you, like specific words?
Nothing I could understand.
Okay. Do you mind if I take a vial of your blood?
Please? I'm not sure how useful it would be.
Well, it's just for my studies. I'm trying to figure out something, that maybe Dr. Knight may have missed.
As you wish.
I'll try to be gentle.
Oh, very well. He holds out his arm to you gently.
Yeah, I'll just, I'll take a, what I need to do is I need to get myself like some butterfly needles. I'll just take my needle and I'll start the process and just be as gentle as I can. You know, I'll just be like, okay, here comes the prick. 1, 2, 3.
Roll medicine.
Okay. How gentle can Lucian be? I'm a doctor, not a phlebotomist. Ooh! 18 plus 14.
You manage to delicately make the injection and draw a sample of blood. You can see black fluid fill the syringe. However, it does not bubble or react.
So fascinating. Does it react at all to, like, just at all?
No, it basically flows like blood. It's just a lot darker, like blackish than, Terran blood.
Okay.
Black.
I wonder if his blood would be toxic to me. That's just interesting. It's not quite thicker, but it is blood. But it's still black. That's fascinating. She just continues like muttering things like that for herself.
Zephyr, what were you saying?
I was just confused. Is it black?
Like black, you ever seen like that really thick blood that gets drawn occasionally, where it's like really dark red to black?
Mm-hmm. I actually had that last time I got my blood checked. It was thick, and I was like, oh.
I thought it was brown blood.
In the initial one, yes, but remember, since then he's been eating better, so his blood's been a lot less thin.
No, I think what he's saying is because originally Pokey had brown blood.
Yes.
Okay.
No, yeah, I'm saying it's darkened since his health has improved, most likely anyway.
Okay. Do you know if your species has white blood count? Do you have white blood cells? How does your immunizations work? Like,
he just blinks at you, clearly only understanding like a third of those words.
That's being generous.
Lucian just kind of like, oh right. If you get sick, um, from where you are from, how do you get better?
Oh, that's easy. We find a scale and pull it free. Once we get deep enough, the dragon starts to bleed, and we bathe in it.
She kind of like looks at him, waiting for like the punchline. Oh, you're serious?
Oh, I do suppose I am simplifying things a little bit. If the season is right, we also try to make our way to its heart and bask upon it. The warmth and the blood combined usually treats our ailments.
So it's a literal dragon?
Oh, yes. A great dragon that flies among the stars. He gestures to the night sky.
Have I ever heard of a star dragon?
Roll nature at disadvantage.
Oh, that's interesting. Nature. Like even in lore or any like stories that maybe like bedtime stories.
You can roll a history, but bear in mind that'll be giving you the folkloric interpretation if you succeed, rather than what's potentially accurate if he's telling the truth. Basically, you can go for history and get folklore, or go for nature and get facts.
Okay, going for nature because I need facts. Disadvantage, you said?
Yeah. For a reason that'll become clear after the roll's made.
14 plus 5.
Okay. Give me just a second, not me having to.
I had to see what number that was because I thought it was something else, but I was like, no, that's a 14.
You don't know of them by any specific name, mostly because most simply do not believe they exist. However, in the land of Ephisum, a bit of a distance from here, you have heard stories of Dragonborn being born with scales that glitter like starlight and shine like comets. And according to those Dragonborn, they are descendants from great cosmic dragons. And according to those Dragonborn, who, given that Dragonborn are descended from dragons and they share those traits, this is at least somewhat factual accounts rather than just like secondhand, third hand. According to those Dragonborn, their ancestors are dragons that once lived in this world eons ago, like probably pre-First Age. But when the various calamities that led to this age happened, many of them fled. The dragons that remain today are tiny descendants of the original dragons.
Okay.
According to the Comet Dragonborn, their ancestry traces to the original dragons, who were big enough to potentially, once they got to like their ancient size, fly through the stars, entire planets as their food.
Huh. So you're telling me that I guess celestial, not celestial, but like a star dragon, right? You take the scale off and then you bathe in it and you're all better?
Combine that with a little bit of basking if we're lucky, and yes.
Fascinating. Now the dragon blood, is that also black?
He considers for a moment and nods. I suppose it is, yes. It glitters, but yes, it is mostly dark.
Wait, it glitters?
He points up to the night sky.
See. I would very much like to meet one of these dragons.
Oh, they come to this world very rarely. The last time one visited was decades ago, and even then very briefly. My partner and I, we wandered too far away from it, and we weren't able to make it back in time.
Is that how she...
No. That was after we were captured. The dwarves didn't know what we were, so they wanted to learn. But after that woman, Dr. Knight, found us, she started taking our blood. She was fascinated by it. I assume because of whatever she's created off of it.
Well, you're looking at them.
That is, as I understand it, yes.
I was worried that she had somehow gotten you.
He gives a smile, and as best I can understand it, only the females of our species are changed by the blood. Mine carries it, but it doesn't change me. I have no wings. I'm small. He gestures to Zephyr, who clearly looks the same.
Yeah, Lucian kind of looks at Zephyr. Are you a girl? He just left my room, so.
but Pokey shakes his head with a smile. No. What I'm saying is, if we were female, we would have wings. We'd be bigger. We'd be able to fly. That's how you can tell which of our kind have been blessed by the dragon. All of us are allowed to bathe in it, but the men are very rarely blessed with the opportunity of flight, to fly alongside the great beast.
Lucian just kind of like looks at him like with utter fascination. So is this like, do you worship this dragon?
Of course. Why wouldn't we? I know your people worship the gods that made their world.
Well, absolutely. No, like I'm more interested. This is more out of interest than anything. I'm really interested to hear about like how does what are your beliefs like?
He tilts his head with a smile and pats the seat on the other side of him from Zephyr. Well, I'd be more than happy to share.
Yeah, Lucian does takes the seat and folds her hands under her chin. He has her full attention.
Eyes glitter.
Yeah. Teach me someday.
Lucy, and it finally, months later, clicks into place. Oh shit, he's like an actual alien.
Yeah. I don't think it has totally set in with her yet.
As the three of you sit under the starlit sky, Zephyr's father regales you both with tales of his home. Caleb, you keep company to your own father, who mourns the separation from his longtime friend. And
friend.
Mourns the dead and helps those separated from their families learn to endure the loss. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. As the fallout from the Battle of Toradana begins to simmer and settle, now all that's left is to make your preparations for the upcoming ball, where you will confront Queen Wyborn and any other Concord members that choose to attend. The entirety of Yav held at their mercy in the territory of a member of the Inner Circle. Prepare for anything. Allies and enemies alike will be there. check out our website at officiald5hub.info. Down for maintenance at the moment, but soon to be resurrected from the grave like a filthy necromancer, getting ready for a party. That's with an extra A.
I'm so excited.
Feel free to join our D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly. I will be sending that in chat after the session. Check out our Patreon. That link to be posted as well. Our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/oddtornadoproductions. Check out our Twitter at twitter.com/tornadoodd, TNO capitalized, to get immediate updates whenever we go live, as well as updates on everything else we're doing. If you want to see more of this party, plus or minus a few, tune in Mondays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/oddtornadoproductions for our Monday campaign, Under Locks and Keys, coming up on our final arc of the same name, where the party battles against technology-worshipping cultists in a struggle over the artifacts of the gods. If you want to see more of this campaign, check out our YouTube channel to catch up on what you may have missed, or catch us live on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time to see more of the same. And if you want, for our audio listeners, feel free to find our podcasts at Google Podcasts, the Our Podcast Network, Google Podcasts. If you find a podcast there, it's probably there. Thanks, everyone at the table, so much for playing. Thanks, everyone at home, so much for watching. And we'll see you all next week.